Hi everyone, it's Kerry and it is Tuesday again. It is Tuesday chat. Um, and this week I'm going to be talking about sort of choosing the right stage for your art when it comes to art competitions, and also art exhibitions to help you sell your art easier. Okay, so that's what our topic is this week, but I'll just wait for everyone to get on before I get started. Hopefully I can see a couple of people are starting to come on. So awesome. So again, as always, let me know that you can hear me okay if you're watching. And if you're watching the replay, you can still put comments in the chat. All the links should be available in the chat as well, for the replay too. But if you can't find something and you want to ask me a question, you can just message me direct as well. All right, good morning, Evelyn. A little drink of water before I get started. Okay. All right, so it is warming up here in Queensland. And I know that because all the snakes are out and about. They've all come out. My father-in-law has seen two really big red belly blacks yesterday. So yes, we have to be extra careful now. Always look where we're walking, because we have a lot of red bellies and brown snakes that get around the farm here. So it's just one of them things, you just have to live with them. They're fine. They're more scared of us than we are of them. And if you see them and just give them some space, it's always good. It's more the dog I'm worried about, that he won't get bit again. So, all right, morning, Elizabeth and Debbie as well, and Marcia. And Odette's on as well. Awesome. Okay, so what I wanted, like I mentioned before, but a lot of you probably didn't hear, is that today we're going to talk about choosing the right stage for your art when it comes to art competitions and exhibitions. And hopefully that will help sell your art easier and maybe even win some awards. You never know. Okay, so we need to be a bit smarter about this. I see it a lot in different Facebook groups. Um, hold on. Um, hold on. Oops. I've lost the chat. I just need to. Just needed to get rid of something or someone. Okay. All right, all good. Let me get my. Okay. Yeah, so to help sell art easier, or a little bit easier. I see, like I was saying, I see in a lot of sort of Facebook groups, people always saying, how can I sell my art? And it doesn't seem to resonate and this and that. They've tried everything. But a couple of things when it comes to entering art competitions, because that's a great way when you're first starting to start getting out there in the art world. But we can do that a little bit smarter. And the same with having if you have an exhibition, so you might work your way up to doing exhibitions. Again, we can think a bit smarter about it as well. I'm not saying this is going to make all your work sell, but you're going to have a better chance. Okay, so it's also the few things that have happened recently for me, it made me sort of think about this as well. So in a few of you who follow me know I was just in a little art competition in a local town here at Biggenden, and I entered a cow, which it's usually behind me. It's the charcoal cow and ink painting, and it won the animal section. But it wasn't that. It was more, a lot of the people on the sort of opening night and that were saying that I must have painted their cow, and There was quite a few saying, "Oh, that's such and such," and it's one of my calves and all this stuff. And it was actually one of my calves, but the point is, it reminded them of their own. Okay, so that's the type of thing you want. Um, Even just in an exhibition as well as a competition, you need to think about where your work is being seen, and who and where your sort of target audience would be, that would suit the theme of your exhibition. So for me, that was at Biggenden. I knew there would be a lot of farmers there because it's a farming community. So I made sure I put a cow in. That's why I chose that particular painting, because it wasn't so much I thought it would win. It was more I was hoping it would resonate and sell. So it didn't sell, but it did win. But it was just really good hearing the feedback, and it worked because people were resonating with it. A lot of people come up to me and said it was their favorite painting, and I think it's because most of them own cattle. So that's the sort of thing I want to talk about. So I've got a solo exhibition next year, um, called Colours of Gari, which is Fraser Island, and it's being held in Gattaca's in Maryborough, which is only sort of an hour from the island, but it's sort of where I chose because it was convenient for me, and I do know a lot of people in Maryborough. Love the island. We're in the Fraser Coast region, which is named for the Fraser Island. But I will also, after that exhibition, I'm going to approach Kingfisher Bay Resort, which is on the island, and maybe discuss if they want to. I don't know if they do exhibitions over there, but see if they want to put a few pieces there. And I'll also probably go to the Hervey Bay Regional Gallery, which they probably won't hold an exhibition there because they have a set criteria, and it's not really local artists as such that have exhibitions there. It's more traveling artists and interstate. But they probably will be very open for me putting merchandise to do with my series because, of course, it's Hervey Bay, which again is the gateway over to Fraser Island, and the dingoes and the wreck and all of the things that I'm painting to do with that are associated with Fraser Island. I can turn that into merchandise of prints and tote bags and greeting cards, all that stuff. So you need to sort of think about what you're painting and where it's going to suit. Okay, so also, not all competitions and exhibitions, they're not a one size fits all. And we're going to go through, I'm going to share my screen a bit later. So say a realistic farm series would shine in rural towns, but it might flop in a fancy city gallery. And also think about your audience, sort of their memories and identity. So art that sells and maybe wins competitions is when it ties into people's sense of place. So say the bridges in Biggenden that we were just in, um, that theme and type of painting would work in Biggenden. Um, and like the Fraser Island dingoes belong in the Fraser Island area. Okay, so I want you to sort of think a bit smarter about entering things. And then say, like I said, with the Kingfisher Bay Resort, it might not buy or display my entire Fraser Island series, but they might be likely to want some prints and merchandise that would resonate with their sort of tourism audience. So there could be opportunities there to work with as well. So I want to do a farm series, of course, because I do live on a farm and I have a million photos from around here of all the cattle and sheep, and that's what it'll mainly be featuring. So the best area for me to look at doing an exhibition, or maybe entering different competitions with different pieces, would be areas like Gayndah and Bundaberg and Rockhampton or Townsville. So the first thing I need to do is research what galleries are in these regional areas for a possible exhibition, or even research and see if any of them, they have galleries that are holding art competitions that might resonate as well, especially like Rockhampton is the beef capital of Queensland, if not Australia, I'm not sure. But you know, so cattle would resonate really well up there. I've got a couple of examples as well. So a friend of mine, Liz, which a lot of you guys know, Liz Dowse, she sold her work at the Biggendon competition. Not only was it a great piece, but it's also a well-known bridge in that area. And it sold sort of as it was getting hung. So people love to buy things that remind them of home or sort of where they're from. So like you wouldn't be exhibiting down the Gold Coast with bridges of the North Burnett, but in the North Burnett, it's smart to paint landscapes that feature points of interest of that region. Good morning, everyone else that's getting on. Di, Deb, Lee, Julie, Elizabeth. Okay. So an art exhibition starts from the initial idea, and then you need to go and gather your references, of course. So in Liz's case, she's holding an exhibition next year in Gayndah. So she's been out taking images of iconic buildings in that area, and points of interest, and she'll do a pen and ink paintings, and they'll be designed and painted specifically for that exhibition. Okay, along with other work that she has, but she will be doing a range of work just for that area, and they're the ones that are going to have a higher chance of selling. Julianne, one day I'll try to get to see your work somewhere. I love animals. Oh no, you've got COVID. That's never fun. Oh, Leslie as well. And then another example is Kevin Rogers' exhibition that I just went out to. That was at Gayndah as well. So this is what I was saying. There was a few things that have happened this week that got me thinking about this. So we went out to his exhibition, which was great, and he already sold 2 paintings before the exhibition even opened. And also was selling a large number of prints as well at the opening night. And why is that? Because as Kevin commented, his work reflects the past. So he tries to draw memories of time gone by, and really what better place to display that than in Queensland's oldest town, which is Gayndah. So again, that's what Kevin loves to paint anyway, but it's smart to do an exhibition in an area that appreciates like heritage and all those old buildings and things like that. It also helps because he's a master coloured pencil artist, so his work is amazing. But apart from that, really try and create your exhibition or your piece for a competition even with the place in mind that it will be displayed at. So another student of mine just emailed me as well to say that she approached a gift shop in Hervey Bay. And they said they'd love to stock her work as prints and greeting cards. But of course, being Hervey Bay, they only want her images of whales and turtles and that sort of ocean stuff. So she had approached them maybe with cityscape paintings, then cityscapes of Brisbane, then they probably wouldn't have been interested. So again, you've got to be smart about it when you are approaching little cafes or gift shops in your area. Think about what they would sell. They're trying to make a living, so they'll earn a commission off, or they pay you a commission. So the more sales, it's a win-win for both. So yeah, you've got to think smart about it, and also there's a higher chance that they'll say yes if your paintings are going to resonate with their clients. Okay. But I don't want you to paint things that don't inspire you. Okay, there's nothing worse than painting things that you have no interest in painting. I've always said that I don't believe you should paint just to try and make money. Okay, art is something we all do to relax and enjoy and get into that flow state. So if you're doing stuff just to create money, it becomes a chore and it becomes work, and then it loses all its fun. Okay, so make sure you're still inspired by what you're painting. So I really want you to sit down and think about what subject you love to paint, and then target your audience that suits that subject. Okay, so you might live in the country, but you might like to paint cityscapes. So maybe you're not going to, sorry, you're not going to approach regional galleries or exhibitions, maybe in regional towns. You might have to look outside your local area to find galleries that suit your work. Maybe if you're doing cityscapes, then you'd probably approach bigger cities. Okay, so here's some things to think about to get started as well. So you want to research the competition or the gallery if it's an exhibition. What style usually gets selected, and who goes to the exhibitions? What sort of sells there? Don't like if you're approaching a gallery, check it out well and truly before, and just see the style of work they put, because not only will even if they let you hang there, if it doesn't resonate, then you're not going to make sales. But most galleries, other than your little art societies, they're the best place to start because they're not picky at all. But a lot of bigger galleries, they won't they won't accept your work. They'll just give you a no if it's not going to resonate. Okay, so it'd be silly to approach a gallery with your portfolio that the type of work they sell doesn't look anything like what you're doing. Okay, so doesn't mean you need to change your style of painting. It just means you need to find the right gallery or space for you. Okay, so don't go changing your style just because you get some knockbacks. Okay, and then also ask yourself, would locals see themselves and their land or their memories in your work? Okay, of where you're exhibiting. Tailor, don't compromise, so stay true to your style, but frame it for the right context, and think beyond original. So some venues might be better suited to prints and cards and merch as well. Okay, like I talk about this a bit. A lot of like tourist areas in galleries and shops, or even if you had a market stall, always take small originals, small prints, greeting cards, tote bags, all that stuff, because if you're in a tourist area, a lot of people have either flown in or they're in caravans, they're traveling Australia. They cannot buy an original piece, a big large original piece of art. Okay, so again, just selling work in that way, you need to think smarter about that as well. Okay, who is your audience? Okay, it'd be silly to have a market stall in a tourist area just with large originals, because you're probably not going to sell them. You might, if you're a pet portrait commission artist, be a good idea to have a few of your finished pet portrait, like animal commissions there, and you'll probably get work to do commissions, but thinking that selling large originals to tourists is not going to happen because they've got no way of getting it home. Okay. All right. So I've also talked about competitions before, but I really wanted to sort of deep dive into it a bit more and try and come up with some art competitions that might suit more realistic artwork and, of course, animals, which, if you follow me, there's probably every chance that that's the sort of work you do and you prefer. A lot of competitions have finished for the year, or their finishing dates are coming up in the next couple of weeks, and I don't want you to try and rush and finish a piece just for a competition right now. It's a good time now to start thinking about what you're going to do next year and start to write down some competitions that you might be interested in and start planning. Okay. Leslie, I put a portrait of a kelpie in the Sanford show and won People's Choice. See, awesome. That is such a great example. as well, Leslie, because Sanford, for those that don't know where it is, it's getting a little bit built up now, but it's a rural, has always been a rural acreage area with beautiful homes and yeah, there'd be working dogs out that way for sure. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that it won People's Choice. Kelpies, everyone just loves the Kelpie anyway. So um all right, so I'm going to share my screen in a sec. So we're going to take a look at some of these competitions that I found. And you can write them down if it's something that might suit your style. They suit mine. They suit what I like. So it's a list of competitions. It's up to you to research the right galleries to approach if you'd like to do an exhibition. And of course, don't worry if you get knocked back. It's all part of being an artist. There's always knockbacks, and it doesn't mean your work isn't good. It just means it's not the right fit. Okay. And that goes for exhibitions like galleries and art competitions as well. Okay, so we'll go through a few of these. I will share the um, I'll share the link as well in here. Some of these are pretty cool. I've just got to find the first one there. Share screen, share. Okay, so the Glover Art Prize. This is one. It's for Australian residents. I'm just going to move my notes so I can see them. Okay, it's for Australian residents, and the art prize. These are landscape ones. These couple. So they are like, I'm not really a landscape artist, but there's some beautiful landscape work. But it has to be a landscape of Tasmania. That's the thing with the Glover. This one was. I don't think it won. This was 2 years ago, but it was stunning. This painting. It was huge. It felt like you could step into it. Um, yeah, just beautiful. I think she said she took the images and references in a kayak on this river in Tasmania, and then it's an oil painting. Absolutely beautiful. But now the Glover's controversial because this year the Glover had some really weird paintings in it that I wouldn't have even called landscape, but um, but generally they're usually really beautiful, realistic sort of paintings, but they don't have to be. But yeah, if you're into landscapes, then the Glover's a good one if you're in Australia. The Doyles, this is one I was just in. It's down the Gold Coast. Oh, wait on, let me just copy. Here we go. I'm going to put these links in as I go. Copy. Thanks. Oh, sorry, guys. Bear with me. Okay, we'll go back here. The Doyles. So hopefully you can see this. So the Doyles Art Awards, it's landscape as well, and they don't accept any abstract, so it is all sort of that um, representational realism type of thing. You've got to know, you've got to know what the subject is. Like you can't just have some paint on a canvas and say it's of something. It's got to be recognizable to what it actually is that the painting is. So that's the type of painting I do. So again, this is the type of art award that I would enter. Just let me, hold on, I'm just going to check on my phone that I can be seen. Okay, let's go to the next one. This one is, hold on, just, the David Shepherd wildlife trust thing, and it is probably the best one. This one. Yep. Okay, I can be seen. Good. This is the pinnacle of. Let me go back to the top. The Wildlife Artist of the Year. So this is held in London, but it is the pinnacle of wildlife art competitions in the world. Okay, if you get into this, you know you're doing something good. Plus, it's fundraising as well for wildlife, which is what us wildlife artists are all about. If we can raise some money, then that's great. But yeah, it's probably, like I said, it's the pinnacle. If you get accepted, you then have to send your art over. But I think it's worth it. You'd probably fly over yourself just to be there if you got in. I think they might have an online section as well. Okay, but you can see the type of work here. It's just stunning, and definitely something that's right up my alley, but it's something that would be my bucket list to be accepted in here, but I've got to start entering to even think about being accepted. Okay, so let's put this one in. Copy. Let me just run back here. Oh, that was the Doyles. Let's go with, okay. All right. Then we have these ones I thought are pretty cool. So the Wildlife Artist of the Year, that's worldwide, open to anyone in the world. These are the duck competitions, the stamp competitions, which are held in Canada and America, and I reckon they're pretty cool. And honestly, it's only open to Canadian residents, and then the next one is the US. I've got a few Canadian students, and I would 100% encourage them to enter these because they look pretty fun. Okay, I think there's a set species for each year, and where do I see them? Let's have a look at the 2025 entries. Okay, so the winner gets a stamp. It goes on a stamp. So yeah, just a fun competition. And yeah, it's obviously each year is a different species of duck. And yeah, I think it'll be a great fun competition and perfect for animal artists who work in realism, of course. Let me just go back so I can put this one in for anyone in Canada watching the replay. This is one for you. I tried to find some from around the world. I wish we had a duck stamp one here in Australia. And this is the US one. This is the one I think I'd heard about, the Federal Duck Stamp Art Competition. Okay, again, you need to be a US citizen for this one. And again, yeah, they're raising money for conservation, which is what we all like. And again, it has different species so it's got some boundaries for it. But again, it's in realism, so it's brilliant. And yeah, another fun one to enter as well if you're in the US. And don't worry if, yeah, you don't think you'll get accepted or this or that. Just start trying. The money raised goes to conservation anyway, so it's not as, I don't mind entering competitions and not getting accepted if I know the money's going to a conservation fund. It's when like you enter and you don't get accepted and then you've spent, $100 or whatever, and you sort of think, well, they've just pocketed that. So, all right. So that was the duck stamp. Now this one is similar, I suppose, similar to the duck ones. this is in Australia, so this is the Holmes Art Prize. Okay, and it has to be, it's realistic Australian bird art. Okay, so yeah, as you can see, some amazing, the work that gets entered into this prize is stunning. Just absolutely beautiful. And they only, I'll share they only have a Facebook page. They're just at Caloundra. They hold this. And they only accept, I think it's only 30 entries. So it's a really hard one to get into. But again, yeah, just keep trying, keep plugging away at it. But again, it's an art competition that suits the style of painting that I love. So these are the type of competitions that I would try and enter. I'm going to show you one that I wouldn't enter, so you'll be able to see the difference. This is an online competition. I don't usually enter online ones, but this one it's quite a well-known one, so I think it's legit. It's Art and Colour 365, and if you win, you have a full feature story in the magazine. So Art and Colour, I think, is a magazine, an art magazine. So that's yeah, it could be worth entering as well. And then let's have a look here. There's the Society of Animal Artists. So this again is worldwide, but these guys are in the US. I think you have to be a member. I'm not sure. I haven't looked into it, but again, it's if you're right into wildlife art, it might be worth joining. And especially if you're in the US, because you're then eligible for all their exhibitions and competitions as well. Did I? Oh, no, I didn't put this one up. Hold on. Copy. Just trying to share all of these because if any of them interest you, then click on the link and save it. Okay, and start planning for next year. Okay, but again, yeah, don't if you don't paint wildlife, then don't do a wildlife one. You know, or if you're more an abstract painter, then none of these are probably going to suit. This one's an Australian one again. It's the Waterhouse Natural Science Art Prize. And but this one, I was talking to a lady who enters this, and she said they seem to be going more for sculptures and installation art at the moment. But in saying that, that's not it. You can also enter paintings, but it's the Natural Science Art Prize. So again, it's realism. So let's put that one in there. And then, oh, that was that one. Oh, and then this one made me laugh. Okay, so only in Tasmania, hey. It is the poo competition, the Poo-tastic Tasmanian Paint Off. Okay, so you've got to do a painting in poo. So this one was done with Patty Melon poo. What else is there here? Oh, no, I've got another page here. So these are the winners from last year, I think. Okay, so not bad prize money. And you've got to tell them what poo you use. So this one is the kookaburra painted with kookaburra poo. And this one, the wombat painted with wombat and beton poo. It's made me laugh actually because a friend of mine who's starting to do art, I was laughing and saying to her that I think some people paint with poo because she's been doing a lot of sheep paintings. And I said, I can give you some sheep poo to paint with. And she said, yes. So this morning I had to bag up some sheep poo to deliver to her. And then I saw this and it made me really laugh about it. So I'll have to share this with her. So yeah, sheep, goat, and goose poo. And I know like different poos can create different colors. So yeah, I just thought this was hilarious anyway. So that is one to share. Now I think they run this every year, and I haven't looked at it. I think you have to be a Tasmanian resident, unfortunately, because otherwise that would be a lot of fun. Um, Not that many of you probably want to paint in poo, but anyway. All right. And then last one. This is what I wouldn't enter. Okay, so as you can see, now you've seen all the ones I've been showing you that were all sort of realistic, that sort of stuff. Now this is what a lot of the council run gallery competitions. I know the Bundaberg, the Sunshine Coast, the oh, I can't remember the name of it now. There's one further down in Brisbane. They're very contemporary, and they're the sort that, as you can see by these are the different entries and stuff. So as you can see, the type of work I do would not suit this competition. So I would be wasting my time and money even entering. Okay, because yeah, it's got to be for these sort of more contemporary stuff. It's got to be a little bit out there and a bit strange for it to be picked. So yeah, so I really wanted to let you see. I'm hoping you can really see the difference. So this is what I want you to research. Okay, whenever you're holding an exhibition, I might stop sharing this now. So this goes for both holding an exhibition or entering an art competition. If you want to hold an exhibition, you've got to do the research and check out the gallery and think about the area the gallery is in. Okay, um, and don't just, like I said, you still want to paint for the joy of it. So you don't want to be painting stuff that doesn't interest you, but yeah, think about how it's going to tie together a gallery and your type of art. Okay, and the same goes for competition. So hopefully you could see the difference there. All the ones I was sharing, um, all sort of seemed the same type of style. It was all like representational art, the realism, um, wildlife, landscape as well. Um, but it all had a similar theme, like that. My sort of work, I feel, would suit any of those, except the last one. Okay, and then I'm hoping you could see that stark difference, contrast between the two styles. Okay, so a lot of competitions are more the very last one I showed you. They're very modern, contemporary, all of that stuff. So even you can just still put realism in there, but it's got to be different. It's got to have an edge of some sort. And the story is what kind of sells a lot in those sort of circumstances. But it's better to research the comps, look at past winners, and and figure out, does your art even suit that competition? Okay, so you need to really sort of, again, do your homework, figure it out. But the whole point of this chat is all about thinking smarter about where you're entering your competitions, but also where you're going to have an exhibition. So before you sort of hit submit on a competition or say yes to an exhibition, just ask yourself, will my work feel at home here? Okay, will it resonate with the people who walk through the door? Okay, and that alignment can be the difference between a painting just gathering dust or selling before opening night. Okay, so if I can't see any questions here, but yeah, if you are at that stage of wanting to, I would start with competitions, start with your local art society, of course, but then if you do want to start entering more competitions, do some research, make sure your work suits. I'm just going through. um, yeah, I just want everyone to be a bit smarter about it, because I hear it a lot that people are like, oh, I didn't get accepted, or I got knocked back for this, or my work's not selling. Okay, you've got to put your work out there. So this is why a lot of times we start with competitions and that. So people won't buy it if they don't know it's for sale. So, but you've also got to be smarter about it as well. Okay, I think I'm just going through my notes. I've covered everything there. I'm actually heading up to Harvey Bay once I get off of here. Um, Hi, Farley. I'm just wrapping up. You've missed it. So, yeah, I'm just going through. No questions there in the comments. All right, like I said, there's all of those competitions. If you want to check them out, check out the poo tastic one, because that's pretty funny. But definitely write down some, or just save the link if it is one. And now is the perfect time to start planning for next year. Okay, there's nothing worse than rushing to make something to suit a competition. Okay, you're going to have much more success if you can plan it, put a lot of thought into it, especially if it's a competition that has a theme around it. Then you can really sort of knuckle down and figure out what you want to do. Okay. But anyway, that's it for me for this week. I hope you've enjoyed this chat, and I hope I've given you something to think about. But above everything, just enjoy creating art. Okay, that's the main goal, to have fun with it. All right, now I will see everyone next Tuesday. I think we're going to chat a bit about conservation with our art as well. All right. Oh, thanks, Farley. My Sphinx in the background. That's the latest, actually, the Sphinx in the background there is the latest tutorial in the Creative Bar membership, which I do have a link as well in the chat if anyone is interested in having a go at painting the Sphinx. It's a monochrome, so it's all done in blue, in pastels. But the Creative Barn Essentials tier is always open, so you can duck up there and follow that link, sorry, and go in and check it out. And yeah, there's over 200 tutorials in there, and you can cancel whenever you want. You can join for a month if you want and just do a few tutorials and then change it up. But the link's in the chat as well. Rachel, is there a class this Saturday? Yes, finally. This is my in-person classes in Maryborough. I've had to cancel for the last month, but we are back on this Saturday, Rach. So hopefully I'll see you there. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks again, and have a good day. I'll see you all later on. Bye.